What's going on, guys? It's Post here, and we are back for yet another round of that DPP tour that I entered. This is my round 3. Technically, it's also round 4, because I was kind of busy during round 3, and my opponent, who is We3Kings, is from Europe, and playing with players from Europe is annoying. Not because they're annoying, but just time zone scheduling and all that. So it's kind of difficult to schedule that match with all the IRL stuff going on, but we were able to get an extension and we were able to get it in. So like I said, it's DPP. Just gonna go ahead and get it in, no team preview. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start it off. He's gonna go ahead and start Skarmory, so let me go ahead and pause this. So I'm gonna lead with Gyarados. I'm CB Gyarados, and I don't know why they changed the font and made it all fancy, but they did, so that's cool. He's gonna switch out right here, and he's gonna switch out to a Melodic. As you can see, there's a team with lead Skarm. I think it's a BKC team, I'm not sure. And it's like lead offensive lump Skarm with dual hazards, max speed, Melodic. And I'm pretty sure that's the team that he brought, but he changed some sets. As you'll see, like that Skarm is basically like a Spadef Skarm, but it's in the lead slot. So anyways, he's gonna lead with that. Usually when he sees Skarm, it's usually something like some like anti-Machamp lead with Lumberry. Like dual hazards and all that stuff. There was an old team, well, not super old, but like 2010, 2011-ish, with like that same set, like lead Skarm with Donphan. I think it was Life Orb or CB Donphan, I can't remember. But it's pretty neat just because Donphan is pretty bad, but that guy made it work. But like I said, he's using this team. And the moment I saw the Melodic, I pretty much knew which team it was, but I couldn't remember the last one, which ends up biting me in the butt, and I didn't feel like going to look it up, like going through the logs. But like I said, that's all going to happen later in the game. So I'm going to reveal a Shaman on the Melodic. I take the Ice Beam just fine. I'm going to go for the Leech Seed on the switch. He brings back in Scar. I'm going to go for HP Fire. Unfortunately, the HP Fire does not do too much, which like I said tells me that this Skarm is actually just a Spadef Skarm that's in the lead slot. It's not the anti-Machamp Skarm that this team usually employs. And he's going to go and he's going to reveal a Heatran right here. I'm just going to go for the Seed Flare, hoping to get a Spadef drop because I figured he would roost right there. So I can try and get the -2 on him, but he makes the correct play and goes to Heatran. Now this lets him get up his Stealth Rock, and if I wanted to do that, he would be out of dodge anyway, since you don't run Leech Seed 3 attacks. It's just not a thing. It's Leech Seed Protect or like Subseed. So I'm going to go back to my Gyarados. Like I said, it is Choice Banded, and I'm going to predict him to switch to Melodic, and I'm going to pull it back to Shaman. However, he's going to show that he is Spadef and actually go for the Protect right here. After I saw Leftovers, I should have scouted for that a little bit, because Leftovers Tran does typically carry... it doesn't typically carry Protect, but it's more likely to carry Protect than a non-Leftovers Tran. So now I have to double back to my Gyarados right here after I made that unnecessarily aggressive play, and he's able to fire off a Toxic since he knows that I do not have Leech Seed. So now my Gyarados is going to get Toxic, and it's actually a shame. I like CB Gyarados a lot as a lead, but it didn't get to do too much in this game because of that Melodic and this Heatran having Protect. Got even worse because I got it Toxic unnecessarily. I still think that was an okay play, I just should have scouted for it. But I was a little behind because he was starting to stack hazard early, so I needed to make those aggressive type of plays to try and get the momentum back. So I do stand by that play of doubling the Gary, even though it just didn't work out for me. I'm going to double the Shaman right here on the Melodic. I'm able to get it right this time. However, he doesn't really lose anything by it because he's weakening my Shaman down, and his Melodic is just getting leftovers. Doesn't really matter too much for him. He's going to go to Heatran, and I'm just going to go for the Leech Seed, once again, trying to get my Shaman healthier. I don't remember if I sub right here, or if I go back to Gyarados. Maybe I go to T-Tar. No, I reveal T-Tar much later in this game. I think I just go back to Gyarados. Oh no, I sub. Nice, okay. So I go for the substitute. Skarmory was probably best case scenario for him, so he couldn't get subseeded. Oh, okay, actually that. Okay, hold on. I'm just trying to remember what happened. So I sub down, I guess predicting him to stay in to try and deal with me. He sees that coming and goes to Skarm. And if I had Protect because he didn't know which one I was, then he could have just gotten Skarm in on Protector free. But the probability of me double seeding right there was pretty minimal. So he made a good play there going to Skarm, and I'm going to sub down, and then I'm going to make a pretty good play and go to my Heatran right here. so I can get my Stealth Rock up, because he's obviously going to Roost right here. If he didn't Roost, he'd get a Spike down. So, arguably, I should have stayed in and gone for the Leech Seed, because it lets my Shaman get a lot lower than it should have been, but at the same time, like I said, I was kind of behind, and I needed to do something to get momentum back. And I got my momentum back, and I can get my Stealth Rock up, which helps me get a little bit farther, like, back in the game. Now this Flygon right here, I'm pretty sure it's mixed. He doesn't end up showing it, but this team does have mixed gun, so I go to Skarm right here, and then I'm going to double back to my Gyarados, scouting for the Fire Blast, because like I said, I'm pretty sure this team does implement a Scarf Gun, but he's going to go to Heatran actually, which makes me think that maybe he changed it to like Choice Band, or maybe my memory is just hazy, but I'm pretty sure this team is mixed gun. Like I said, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's mixed gun anyways. So like I said, I'm going to double to Gyarados scouting for that Fire Blast because my Gyarados is very low. It's my most expendable member, but he's going to go to Heatran instead. And unfortunately, because of that toxic damage, Gyarados is getting worn down lower and lower, and it's not really doing too much. Able to get Heatran in though, take some damage, and then he can go to Melodic, and I can just go right for the Waterfall. Do quite a bit of damage to that, and thanks to Toxic, I am going to faint so I can get Switch Initiative, and the Melodic is not going to be gaining HP back through the recovery, which is good because I can keep applying pressure to it. However, with my CB Garrett going down, that Heatran's going to become much more difficult to deal with. I need to get hazards down whenever I possibly can. And, yeah, I need to get hazards down when I can, and I need to scout the set. I'm pretty sure at this point it doesn't have Earth Power, so my Heatran can wall it, which helps it a lot. Which helps me a lot, and I still have my T-Tar in the back, but it's definitely going to be difficult to take down that Heatran. Just protect and everything, it's annoying. And I'm glad to see this set coming back, because people don't use it a lot. I don't use this set a lot. He makes a nice play right there, predicting me to protect, I guess because I showed leftovers, he kind of knew which set I was, that I was like either some sort of subset or I was Wish Protect. But anyways, I go for a couple of protects right there just to get my Jolteon as healthy as possible. This is Wish Tech Jolteon. If you're a new gen player, you might think that's strange because Jolteon has low HP, but in gens 3 and 4, I don't think Wish was in gen 1 or 2. Wish just heals 50% of the recipient's HP, doesn't heal 50% of the Wisher's HP. So that's why Wish Jolteon is pretty good, because it's fast, and yeah, it's a good Wish passer for like bulky offense teams, at least in my opinion. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to go to Heatran right here because I'm pretty sure his Heatran does not have Earth Power, so I can go to it and wall him effectively, but he has these hazards down, so it's going to be really tough for me to get much use out of my Heatran, so his Heatran is still a big problem. I have to, like I said, even though I'm ahead as far as the Mons advantage, I still feel like I'm down because he has that spike down. At the very least, I need to trade spikes with him, but in an ideal world, I'd like to be able to do something about this. Maybe I need to find a way to fit a Starmie onto this team, like maybe a Starmie over the Gyarados would be better. I don't know. I do like Gyarados because it's a nice lure for Starmie, but maybe it's not. Maybe I just have to do something about it. I don't know. But like I said, I'm going to go to my Skarmory right here, actually, to try and do that and try and stack spikes. To at the very least do something. Earlier I nailed the Flygon, and he was like, I didn't expect it. This team struggles a little bit with like Mixgon and Gliscor. Not too much, that's why I just ran Shuka HPS for the Heatran. It's not the most common thing in the world, but like I said, I'm running it. I'd like to have Explosion though, but I don't have Explosion. I have Earth Power for the Melodic, which would help it a lot. Now right here is kind of the more questionable play. So like I said, I got my Skarman on the Melodic because I can't do anything to remove the hazards. So I figured that my best case scenario is just to stack hazards and try and trade with him. So in my mind, I get a spike up right here, and then it's the next turn. So in my mind, I don't want him to get the third layer of spike down to help my Heatran out, so I Whirlwind, and I still think that play is fine. But arguably at that point, because he has 1, 2, and 3 with my T-Tar, which is unrevealed, Mons that he can spike on for free, and then 2 Mons, which he can't spike on for free, but I can't switch my Heatran in for shit, and then Jolteon still doesn't want to take the damage. So it's it's really easy for him to get the third layer spike down. So arguably what I should have done is just been resigned to the fate that he's going to get all 3 layers down, and just try to trade and get all 3 layers of mine down. So he's going to go to Rotom. I go to Tyranitar right here just because I don't really have anything to do. I'm really on the back foot right here. If it's last as like a Lucario or something, and in my mind, I've remembered the team for some reason having Mach Infernape, like CB Mach Infernape, or Life Orb, like Mixnape, then I'd be in a lot of trouble. But the last is, you'll see it, you'll see it. It's not that, though. So if the last was something like that, then I'd be in a lot of trouble, but he doesn't go to it, or it's not that. I'm pretty sure it's not that anyways at this point in the game, because he didn't go to it. Because if he was like Lucario or something, or Scizor, I think he would just win the game. If he was Lucario, he definitely... What? Not actually, because I still have Heatran, so... Either way, he doesn't do that, and he goes to Skarm, which is arguably just as bad, because, like I said, he can get that 3rd layer down for free. And because I didn't spike up with him earlier, I'm only going to be able to get 2 layers down, as opposed to being able to get all 3 of my layers down, which makes the Heatran just that much more difficult to deal with. Now I am Spidef Skarm, so arguably I should have just stayed in and tried to whirlwind this thing out, get more damage on it, get more phasing going. But I don't do that, because I decide that my Skarm, it can wall the Melodic, because it's, like I said, it's max HP, max speed. It can't really wall the Skarm because I fucked up on my team building. I meant for the Skarm to have 24 speed, but it didn't have any speed. I just put max HP, max Spidef, just being lazy in the team building. And his Skarm has a little bit of speed creep. Normally, if a Spidef Skarm speed creeps, they speed creep with 20 speed EV, so that's why I usually like to run 24. When I run Spidef Skarm, but like I said, I was just lazy with the team building. I'm not putting the blame on anyone else but myself, though. But that does hurt me a little bit in this game, because it would have helped me in that Skarm vs. Skarm scenario right there, because I would have been faster and I would have been able to whirlwind him out. Like early in the game, it was Skarm vs. Skarm, now it's Skarm vs. Skarm. If I was faster, I'm not saying that I would have won the game, but I think I would have had a better chance to win the game. But instead, I'm slower, so I'm able to get the 3rd layer down. He's going to whirlwind me out, though. And unfortunately, Tar comes in. Well, not too unfortunate, because I'd rather have Tar die and then me send something else safely in. I still have no idea what his last is at this point. Had I maybe looked at the team more thoroughly, because, like I said, I do know this team, but this tour is not for anything, it's just for fun, so I just decided, you know, it's not worth it. I'm going to go to Jolteon right here, and right here, We Three Kings makes a pretty good play. So, he has Skarman. Thunderbolt does not kill at this point, but Thunderbolt does a hefty chunk. It does like 78 to 88 is the rule, something around that range. I know that 88 is the max, which is why I don't Thunderbolt right here. However, my team's all pretty low except for Skarm. So I decide to Wish Up right here to try and heal my team up, because I figure that he's either just going to Whirlwind or he's going to switch. So I can Wish Up, heal my Jolteon, or if he Whirlwinds, then I can heal something else. That's my plan. He Whirlwinds, and he goes to Skarm. Now, because I was slower earlier, and I realized that I didn't have any speed creep, well, I didn't realize it at the time, because I was too lazy to hover over, and I just didn't realize that I fucked up. I just thought that he was running an obscene amount of speed creep. I roost predicting him to Whirlwind me, but he makes a really smart play right there in Brave Birds. And that's when, like, alright, I'm fucking with the savagery. Not really a savage, but it's like, I know I'm playing someone who knows what they're doing, which I really enjoy. So I can't do anything about it, and like I said, I just say, well, maybe it's a Whirlwind, but like I said, I didn't realize that I just fucked up in the team builder. So at this point, it's Heatran. I can't really do anything. I figured that he would stay in, because if he loses his Melodic, then, like, if he loses his Melodic, then my Heatran, depending on what his last is, could actually be really dangerous for him. I actually think this play was a bit of a choke, because if I Earth Powered right there predicting the Melodic, then what happens is that if I Earth Power right there, Earth Power, if I get 2 max rolls, actually can 2-hit KO the Melodic, because it comes in on all the hazards and then 2 Earth Powers. I think max is like, it's not 25, but it's like 24.9 or 24.8. So if I Earth Power twice right there, then like I said, if I get 2 high rolls, the Melodic KOs, and then I can outspeed his Tran, and Tran has to come in on all the hazards, so Earth Power KOs that. KO Skarm with Fire Blast, and the last is Wish ZM Rachi. So I actually, if I Earth Powered right there and I got 2 max rolls, then I actually just would have won the game like straight up with Heatran. So I think this play was actually a choke, which is why I went for the Fire Blast play, because I expected him to sack Scarm, go to Melodic, and then just recover. And then my plan was, just because I don't have Explosion, was just to stay in and Earth Power and hope for Spidef drops. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, and like I said, I Fire Blasted, he goes to Melodic. That, like, in this entire series, I think that was the only bad play that he made, was that Melodic play. Actually, no, never mind, it really wasn't a choke, because his Melodic is max speed. So, never mind. Never mind. Wow, dude. Never mind that entire sequence. Because the Melodic is max speed. So, like I said, just never mind. If I got like a crit Earth Power or something, that could have been bad for... Well, even then, I don't think a crit would have killed, so... Never mind that entire sequence. I completely forgot that the Melodic was max speed. So, like I said, just never mind. So, anyways, I'm going to go to Jolteon, going to kill. He reveals his last, which is Rachi. I need some parries or some luck to go down. Going to Thunderbolt, because my team is just so weak. He goes for Psychic, and things are starting to turn south pretty quickly. At this point, I think the game is over. And, yeah, the game is pretty much over, so I'm just going to put it on fast. So, I'm going to go out to Scarm, and he's going to Thunderbolt. Mail says this was a very good battle. It was a pretty good battle. Yeah, well, it was a good battle for sure. He's gonna ruin me. Maybe if I put the speed creep that I wanted to put on, then I could have whirlwinded the Scarm right there. And this is what I'm talking about, that if I put the speed creep that I wanted on, instead of just being lazy in the team builder and not double checking things, then I would have been able to face things around, because I'm Spidef Scarm. I could have handled the Heatran a little bit, and then maybe soloed with Subseed Shaman, maybe. Like I said, it's a bit of a far-fetch. I would have need some things to kind of go my way, but it was a possibility that just never happened because, like I said, I was lazy and did not double-check the team builder. But that's what happens. I just gotta live with it. So he's gonna go take Game 1. Game 1 was pretty good. Like I said, the only mistake that I thought he made was the Melodic play, but I completely forgot that it was max speed, so never mind. He played that game pretty much to a T. Made a couple... No, I played pretty solid, too. A couple things I could have done better. Like, I think... Well, first of all, if I had double-checked and put the speed creep that I like on my Skarmory, then I would have been fine there. And then, I think versus Skarm, instead of trying to switch out and mess around with that, I should have just resigned myself to my fate and then... spiked up, and then way earlier in the game versus the Heatran, I should have just waterfalled and then said fuck the Melodic, and because he had leftovers, so I should have played better around Protect. That's all I'm saying. But as we're on to game 2, the replayer is stupid and puts him on this side and me on that side, and there is no switch sides thing. So we're just gonna have to ride it out, and it is game 2. He's going to lead Yuxi for his game 2. I'm gonna lead Pert. When I saw Yuxi, because that last team was pretty well known, earlier on in the first couple of rounds, someone was using a Yuxi Rain team, so I immediately thought that. So, I mean, I really couldn't do anything. I was just like, let me get up some rocks. But he's actually Trick Scarf. And there was another team that had Trick Scarf Yuxi that I saw in some replays, but again, I don't remember that either. So maybe I need to do more research. But like I said, he's gonna get up his rocks. Trick Scarf works better for me than if he was some sort of like dual screens or like some sort of Rain Dance set, because that would have just fucked me sideways. But right now I'm in a pretty good spot, so I'm gonna go to Rotom, go for the substitute. My Rotom does not have Hydro Pump, unfortunately, so the best thing I can hit this Heatran with is Thunderbolt. Still clocks it for a nice little chunk. And this, once again, is Bulky Heatran, so Weether King's definitely liking that set. But like I said, Bulky Heatran, underrated. People talk, like, Scarf Tran used to be the flagship set. Pasho Tran is probably like the most popular one now. Berry Tran in general is really popular, but just standard utility Tran gets the job done. Gonna go to Pert right here. Hoping I don't get burned. If I do get burned, it's whatever, because Pert, now that it's been tricked to Choice Scarf, is easily my most useless mon. He's gonna detect right here. Yuxi can obviously switch in on Earthquake, and he probably has another ground immunity, since Yuxi, especially if it's Trick Scarf, does get worn down fairly easily. That's more of an early game thing. But I'm going to protect anyways and try and predict around it. And I'm going to go to Tyranitar, anticipating maybe his own Rotom or the Uxie, if he had it. But based on what I've seen so far, T-Tar is a solid switch, and he's going to go to Uxie. So right here, something that I just realized, and this T-Tar I believe is also Choice Scarf. So something that I realized is that what he could do is he could take my Choice Scarf. He can give it to something else if I don't play around it correctly, but if he had a Starmie in the back, which is a strong possibility, I've only seen 2 mods and Starmie can fit on pretty much any type of team build. The only thing I have to outspeed Starmie in this team is one of my unrevealed, which I'm going to say later, and the Scarf Tar. And Scarf Tar is my main way of dealing with it. I don't have a dedicated water resist to this team. The way I deal with Starmie is I have Rotom chillin', I have Pasho Tran, and I have Scarf Tar, and then I have another mon that can outspeed Starmie. That's my way of dealing with it. So if he goes to Uxie, like I crunch it and it's all good, but he can go to Starmie later. Like he could trick, I lose my Scarf, he goes to Starmie, and then Starmie can fuck me up later. So like I didn't really think through this play, but at this point I'm committed. So I realize it, but like I said, I'm committed at this point, so I'm going to just go for the crunch. Obviously, he realizes that I'm Scarf at this point. But he decides to U-turn, probably thinking that I was, like, Choice Band. So, he just U-turns out, so all that got avoided, which I'm glad because I don't really think that was the best possible play that I could have made by sending in my T-Tar as the Uxie answer. I probably should have sent in Rotom, predicting that, or maybe even gone to, like... No, because he just would have... Oh, that's right, he had the leftover. So yeah, I could have just gone to Skarm. But he shows Gliscor, and this mod is incredibly annoying for any team, but especially for my team. Because I'm not Ice Beam Tar, I'm not Hydro Pump Rotom, I'm not HP Ice Tran, I have Pasho Tran in the back, and my last switch is Aerodactyl. I just said it right there, I wanted to not say that, but I said it. My last switch is Aerodactyl, does not have Taunt, it's the bulky subtoxic variant of Aerodactyl. So Gliscor, especially for this team, now that my Swampert has been tricked to Choice Scarf, is incredibly annoying. Like, I'm gonna have to play super hard around this Gliscor if I want to win. Just because, or maybe I just gotta change some things, dude. Like, I should probably have like Ice Beam Tar, but I don't, so it's whatever. So he's gonna go to Roserade. I can't kill with anything. He's too low for a Pain Split to really affect me, so he pretty much gets to put something to sleep for free. I think I go to Swampert right here, directly predict. No, I go to Skarmory because I figured that he's going to go for the Sleep Powder first. And if I was going to have anything put to sleep that's not Swampert, it'd be Skarmory. But if he doesn't do that, which is also a valid play, then Skarmory is my best answer to that. He shows Toxic Spikes, which is bad because that means he has Sleep Powder, and this gen Spikes and Sleep Powder are illegal. But he's going to show it right there. Things are not looking too good. Because even though the game is still 6-6, I'm kind of behind the ball. Gonna reveal my own Tran at this point since he just went for Sleep Powder, so now I can take the opportunity. Shows that he has HP Fire. They don't have HP Fire, they have like HP Ice, so Heatran's a pretty good switch. If they have HP Ground, it's only on the offensive sets, and it's very rare. So I already have my rocks up, but I can take the opportunity to fire off a Fire Blast, try and dent his team, maybe go for an Earth Power, predicting his own Heatran, which I think is what I do. Yep. And he's going to reveal that he has offensive Coon, and this is actually really good. However, because normally if I'm in this type of situation, if they have a bulky water, because I have the Pasho Berry, I'd go for HP Electric. I have HP Electric on this one specifically for Gyarados. Which arguably I should have HP Grass anyways, but it doesn't really matter since this is a Suicune. So what I normally do in this situation is I take the water move and then I just boom. Like if it's a Starmie and it's bulky or whatever, then like I said, I just take the water move and I boom trade verse it. And then I'm completely fine versus that. But if you look at his team, he has Gliscor, which Heatran, depending on what the Gliscor speed is, Heatran can kind of deal with it. I'm Modest Tran though, so not really. He has his own Heatran, which my Heatran can deal with, because I'm thinking that this is that bulky Tran again, that Uxie and the Roserade especially, and then whatever his last is, which I'm not sure what the last can be. It's kind of ambiguous looking at his team, because his team is just like, it's just fat. Like maybe something like a SD Scizor, maybe some type of wall breaker if he wants to make it more offensive, maybe something like a Clefable. Gliscor Clefable is a really good core in DPP. So, like, it all depends on how he wants the team to go. So his last is really ambiguous. So I think I'm still going to need Heatran. So what my plan is just pop the Passion Berry and just go for the HP Electric and bring the Suicune down really low so it can't set up. He's actually timid, Suicune, which kind of surprised me. So that means his last probably deals really well with Gyarados because he would need to be modest if he wants to deal with Gyarados well. Or at least, like, timid Life Orb Coon. In my opinion, of course. I'm not the DPP expert, but that's just my opinion on his team. But anyways, Swampert, like I said, not doing too much for me. And due to Toxic Spikes, my Swampert is going to go down to 2 Surfs, which is unfortunate. But what he probably would have done anyways is just switch to Uxie if he didn't have Toxic Spikes down and my Swampert was able to live that. But it doesn't matter because I can go to Tyranitar and do I crunch or do I trap his ass? I don't remember, but he's going to show Protect anyways, which is quite odd. He's going to go for Crunch just to see what I lock myself into. I know that is a thing on Suicune, especially since he has Toxic Spike support. It's just really uncommon, and I'm not the biggest fan of Protect Coon. But it's pretty good on this type of team. And it does work for him right there because he can whittle me down with the Toxic Spike damage, and he can see what I want to lock myself into. So if his last is something like an SD Scizor, which is something that I considered, then I would be in for some problems. So like I said, I'm kind of on the back foot once again because my team does not deal with Gliscor all too well. So what I decide for my plan to be is my Aerodactyl is my last. Now its Uxie's low, the Roserade's low, Heatran's low, and if the last is something that can deal well with the Aerodactyl, I say, you know what, so be it. And in my mind, I'm thinking it's either Scizor or Clefable, which, like I said, Clefable, depending on the set, can deal with Aerodactyl. It all comes down to like the mind games of like T-Wave and stuff. And then if it's Scizor, I have literally boom, 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 Scizor, Scizor, Scizor. So, well, that's not really because it's kind of low, but this and this, easy Scizor answers. So I'm not too concerned about it. So what I decide to do is, or if the last is something else, then it's like, so be it. What I decided to do is just stay in with Crunch. I figure that my Tyranitar can't really deal with the last too well anyways. And it's going to be really tough for my Tyranitar to do anything with this Gliscor since I'm not Ice Beam. So what I decided to do is just go for Crunches, try and get Spadef drops, try and get crits to make the Gliscor weaker, because this is public enemy number 1. So I don't really see a way around it other than trying to hacks my way down. So that's basically what I'm going to try to do at this point, is just stay in, try and hacks, and then, like I said, just hope for the best. Unfortunately, I don't get any Spadef drops or crits, so the Gliscor is able to go for Roost and be A-okay. Now, my Aerodactyl has Toxic. I expected him to know that Toxic Aerodactyl is a possibility, because I send in Aerodactyl and he says, oh no. So I expected to know that Toxic Aerodactyl is a possibility. It's not the most common one, but it is a set. And if I'd gotten a Toxic off on him, I would have been sitting pretty nice. Yeah, because that would have meant that my Skarmory could have beat it 1v1, which otherwise my Skarmory could not. So that's why I decided to sub right there, expecting him to switch so I can get that strong momentum back. However, he doesn't, and he taunts. Arguably, I should have just gone for Toxic anyways. So that was probably, if I had to say there was one bad thing that I did the entire series, that was not Toxicking the Gliscor. Because, like I said, Gliscor is straight up just public enemy number 1. He's going to reveal his last right here, which is Rotom, and it's Scarf Rotom too, of all things. I found that shocking, actually, no pun intended. I just looking at his team, I did not expect a Rotom to be the last. Like, well, I guess I could see it because he doesn't have a Scarfer, but his team's kind of like bulky offense anyways, so like I said, I would have expected something like a Scizor to kind of like, you know, use the priority to make up for lack of a Scarfer. That makes more sense to me, but I love late game SD Scizor, so maybe that's just my bias coming in. But like I said, Rotom works, but I just didn't expect it. And that's a giant problem because my only Scarf Tom answer is Swampert on this team. This team, it's like good or bad. It's like good slash bad. I don't know. It's interesting. I guess that's what I get for like not testing properly. But anyways, he's gonna go for T-bolt right there, break my sub. He goes for the rock, or I go for the rock slide. Do about a third. And I'm still taunted, unfortunately, because you're taunted for longer in DPP. So things are looking pretty grim. So he's going to go for another T-bolt right here. I go for a rock slide. I basically have to hope for a crit or like some super duper high roll. My plan of dealing with it right now is that I got to sack Aerodactyl. I could take one, go for another rock slide, and then I can just get rid of it. But unfortunately, because I don't have any way of removing the hat suits, my Aerodactyl is going to have to go down. And like I said, at that point, Aerodactyl was a very strong win con. So Aerodactyl may have potentially won me the game. And now I'm going to have to sack Skarmory, which is another thing that I don't want to do. And that's kind of making me regret not getting the Toxic off on the Gliscor even more, because if I'd gotten the Toxic off, I could have been sitting pretty nice, but that's not something I decided to do. My Rotom, however, can potentially win, and I have to bank on him either having slow speed on Gliscor or him just choking and letting me pain split off. However, he's none of those things. He's fast Gliscor, which most of them in DPP are anyways. I just had to bank on it and go for the pain split. Unfortunately, that does not work out. Once again, if I had Hydro Pump, things may have worked out better, but I'm just dual stab, so that's unfortunately how things are going to go. Go for the Shadow Ball, going to take out Roserade. Unfortunately, I am going to faint, and once again, because that's fast Gliscor, my Heatran can't do anything, and I think a E-Cube may have taken me out from there even if I was Shuka, but Barry's been burned, and I was Pasho anyways, so that's going to be the game. I'm going to go out to the Gliscor. Heatran's going to come in, and that's pretty much going to be the game. So I'm just kind of thinking, had I gotten the Toxic off on the Gliscor, how things would have gone differently, because he would have taunted me. I wouldn't have been, my HP wouldn't have been lower from the sub, and then, yeah, I think if I had Toxic right there, the game would have been really nice. If I was taunt at the same time, that would have been good too, because then I wouldn't have been taunted and I could have restalled the Rotom. But either way, I think Toxic, I think it cost me that game not going for the Toxic, which is, it's lame, but it is what it is. Just gotta live with it. And like I said, We Three Kings, this series, he played really well. And besides that play, that was like the one play that I think I fucked up. And then not like checking my team builder. But even then, none of those things necessarily guaranteed me the win. It just gave me a better shot at it. So that's why it's not like a major choke, because I didn't have the game in the bag by any means. But like I said, shoutouts to We Three Kings. If he sees this video at all, shoutouts to him, because he played incredibly well this series. This is a good series in general. Like, I'm not salty at all for going out that way, especially since it's my first tournament in like a year and a half or something. Like, I played quality opponents throughout, and I played pretty well. And I'd say it kind of reinvigorated my interest in the game, at least DPP, because these types of games is how DPP can be when it's played well. So like I said, shoutouts to We Three Kings for a great series. My run's going to end here, but I'm going to still try to be a little more active as far as like old gens. I have some RBY stuff coming up soon, so if you like RBY, that'll be cool. And then I think sometime in the coming weeks, Wi-Fi battles will be coming back. So if you're just someone who likes the Wi-Fi battles, then you'll be getting those pretty soon. But like I said, thanks for watching the video, guys. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up. If not, leave a thumbs down, but at least tell me why. And I forgot to turn off the goddamn thing again. Sigh. Alright. Well, you know what? Y'all just gonna have to live with it. So anyways, GG's, guys. I'm gonna turn it off just to spite you guys. But like I said, have a good day, guys, and peace.